Hi, my name is Laura Griffith Garland, and this is my first solo podcast. I have been doing a series with Podcast Business News, and now I'm going to continue that with a solo podcast. So you can check out the ones with Podcast Business News by going to any place where you get your podcasts and typing in Laura Griffith Garland in your search. So I want to continue the series, bringing information and insights into a variety of topics from health and wellness to spirituality, including things like shamanism, Reiki, energy healing, and interconnectedness between all beings on the planet. So let's just go. A little background on myself. I am a holistic inspiration coach. I used to be a U.S. naval officer, and among other things, I taught nuclear physics. I am called doctor because I have a PhD in earth and planetary science. I was a high school teacher for many years, and now I work as a holistic inspiration coach using the fact that I am a shamanic Reiki master and Reiki master with all of the tools of coaching. If you don't know what a coach is someone who helps you really improve your life by allowing you to find within yourself what you need to move forward and thrive. A coach works with people who do not have severe mental illness. We're working with people who want their lives to improve but aren't necessarily looking for therapy. Therapy is done under a licensed system. Coaches don't handle that. Although I do work, my husband is a therapist, and he and I often work with clients to help them improve their lives. He works on the clinical side. I work on just overall life improvement, working on your dreams, working on finding what your dreams are, working on finding your purpose. But today, I want to talk about the topic of health from the perspective of grief and forgiveness. So when I do these talks, I pull 3 cards. And today I got health, grief, and forgiveness. So those are our topics today. And from this perspective, we'll look at grief. The obvious, of course, is loss of a loved one. Any form of loved one can include our furry loved ones. But there are tomes written about that out there, and I don't want to go into that. So especially given that forgiveness was the other topic that came up, I'm being drawn to talk about a different type of grief, grief that our culture usually doesn't discuss or have us even realize occurs. And this would be grief in loss of a relationship. Now, that could be a divorce, so a long-term relationship with a legal binding contract. So it could be divorce, but it could be any romantic relationship of any duration. It could be loss of friendship. It could be loss of connection with family members. Many of these things happen in our lives, and socially, culturally, we're not taught what to do when we lose a significant relationship like that. Divorce requires a piece of paper from a judge. But does that actually properly separate the relationship it doesn't in most instances, especially when there are children involved in that. But just the loss of a friendship, there's no paper involved, there's no judge involved. What do we do? We're not socially, culturally taught what to do when we actually lose a relationship of that sort, because we've invested energy into the relationship. Okay, we've invested our time, we've invested energy. Once we've done that, there's a physical, energetic connection. Okay, there's an attachment between the people. And when that relationship is dissolved, we don't know about how to energetically dissolve that relationship. Because that attachment is still there, we're still having an energetic tie to someone. And when that occurs, we're losing our physical energy. Okay, so the energy is still leaving our system. We do not have access to it. And this is one of the reasons why when people are in grief about relationships of this nature, you can actually get sick because you're losing your energy, and because the relationship is broken, you no longer have the energy coming back. When the relationship is whole, it's a two-way street. Okay, you give energy, energy comes back. Hopefully. Part of the problem the relationship may have been broken is because that was no longer occurring. But when you're just giving out energy, your energy comes down. That means that your body does not have its full complement of energy, and your health can suffer. So we need a process to actually grieve through this and not have the grief linger. When you have that attachment still there, the grief lingers and lingers and lingers and lingers. And so one of the things that as a shaman that I do is break that attachment properly energetically. It's not just cutting the tie. No, that is not the entirety of the process. And it needs more than just that, because that tie usually comes right back if you've cut it. It's a much deeper process than that. And it also usually requires some working through, because grief is a process. So there's working through that needs to be done. With grief of a relationship, you might not need a grief counselor because it may not be to the level of grief of loss of a loved one. But there is still that there. So you may still need to process through it. And oftentimes having someone on the outside helps you see yourself and how things are in a much clearer light, so that you can fully release the energetic tie that you have with someone. And this will then reclaim your energy and improve your health. Now, what about forgiveness? Forgiveness is super important. It is not about excusing behavior. That is not what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is about reclaiming your energy. Again, so it's a reclaiming of your energy, because when there is a situation where something needs to be forgiven, whether it's with another person or whether it's with yourself from something you did in the past, oh, that's a big one. When you have to do that, people don't want to because they think it's a free pass. It's not. That's not what it's about. Not at all. It is an energetic process of reclaiming the energy, of breaking the tie, of stopping the energy drain, of stopping you becoming reactive over another person, over a thing in your past. When you're sending energy out to other people, because that's what happens when forgiveness is not occurring. You are sending energy every time you get angry, every time you get upset, every time that emotion comes up really strongly, and you're sending it to someone else. You're sending it to someone else. You don't have it for yourself. If you get angry and upset at yourself, you're sending it into the past, okay? And you're sending angry, upset energy, sad energy, whatever the energy is, at yourself, not happy energy into the past. You're sending not nice, happy energy to yourself. So again, there's a shamanic process for breaking that, for doing that forgiveness that allows you to reclaim your energy to improve your health. Because when our energy is flowing out like that, we don't have mental clarity. It's very hard because your energy is diminished and you're always a little off, a little foggy, a little tired. And then if that lasts for a long time, whether it's lingering grief or whether it's lingering non-forgiveness, both of those are energy out. If that lasts for a long time, you can depress your immune system, or you can end up with stress conditions created, various things that are actual physical conditions that your doctor is going to have to start potentially prescribing you something for. We don't want that. We want your health to be as best as it possibly can. So what we want is to break the energetic ties, to work through the process, potentially with someone who has an outside view that can show you and highlight for you the wonderful parts of yourself and let you see the potential in yourself and for yourself moving forward, because that at the end is what we want. We want you to move forward into a better life for yourself. Now, what about when grief and forgiveness collide? Because sometimes the loss of a relationship, oftentimes maybe, is because there's stuff that needs to be forgiven there. Then you got a double whammy, right? You got a double whammy going on with that. But what if it's not about a relationship? What if the loss is about something else? What if the grief is over something else? And there can be grief over many other things. Loss of a job, loss of opportunity, loss of a dream. Now that one's really big because you're likely going to be very unforgiving of yourself for losing a dream. And so again, the double whammy on that. And again, there's energy that has to be reclaimed, that has to be brought back. And very often there's a process that has to be worked through on this. And this is where, I put my coach hat on and help you work through the process. The energy is the shaman hat and the process is the coach hat. And this is where it can come really together for you when you have someone who can do both things. Now, in the end, what we want is, again, for you to reclaim your energy, to find your best self and move forward. And so I suggest maybe thinking about these topics and whether you need to find a way to reclaim your energy, to break an energetic connection so that you can move forward into happier, healthier you. And that is where we want you to be. Namaste.